This knife is the Obake from CRKT, designed by Lucas Burnley. Lucas Burnley is a famous knife designer, knife maker. He was also the designer of the Quaken and the production versions by Boker, the Boker Quaken knives. This knife was sent to me by CRKT in order to get my thoughts on the design and to also share the knife and my analysis of it with all of you. Now the handle is imitation ray skin with a nylon wrap reminiscent of the Japanese style that you'll see on the handles of katanas. Now that wrap is actually very rigid. I'm not sure if they put resin on it or something. But for some reason it is very rigid, so it provides a much better grip than you might think. The blade itself is 8CR14 MOV, stainless steel, and the blade length is 3.6 inches by my measurement. It also has a nitride coating, protective coating, and it also has an acid etched pattern, which is unique to every single blade. One thing Lucas Burnley is known for is this type of blade that's very reminiscent of Japanese style tantos. And here is a comparison with that knife I mentioned before, the Boker produced Quaken by the same designer. As you can see, very similar. This CRKT knife is actually a fairly small knife. It is designed to be extremely light and easy to carry. And these blade shapes that you see here, they combine a lot of piercing ability with some good slicing ability as well. Alright, let's do a little paper cutting with this and see how the edge out of the box is. It's not bad. It can do the slow cut, but you see the edge of the paper, it is a bit, it is a bit rough. So it can do the slow cut, but it's not, making a laser cut. There we go. All right, so it's not razor sharp. You see, it's definitely not dull, but it's cutting a bit rough. All right, so I'm going to say, I'm going to give this a score of medium. Medium sharp, B- to a B in initial sharpness. All right, let's discuss the sheath. Now the sheath is glass-filled nylon. It is relatively thick glass-filled nylon, so it's not flimsy. All right, and it comes with this paracord, and it comes with a nice little skull bead lanyard bead. Let's get a close-up of that. Pretty nice. All right, here's the sheath itself. It also comes with this hardware. This is exactly how it comes. So if you want a belt clip for your knife, all right, you can mount this on that, or if not, you can thread things through. You can wear it as a neck knife, and you could conceivably attach it to a pack or some webbing. As far as how this sheath functions, well, it definitely locks in. It is very secure. It's also completely silent. Always a good thing. Completely silent and very secure. Now one critique I would have is that this part, I would prefer that this part here be actually on the spine so that I could push off the sheath without being in danger from the edge that's going to come out. So I wish this part were on the spine side of the sheath. Now this is very securely in there. When you first get this, you might even think that it's too secure because you actually, to get it out, you really have to pull decisively to get it out. But I'm going to show you a way around that. All right. I found that if you don't push it all the way into the sheath, if you just push it like, I don't know, halfway in, it still does hold it in. right? But it's a little bit easier to pull out, right? So sometimes, you know, you're gonna have to experiment because I don't know how tight your sheath will be. I only have this one that I got, but this is in there about halfway, and I can push it out easier. Whereas if I put it in this way, it's very difficult to push it out. See, I have to pull it out. All right, so that's a little trick I learned. Now let me show you what I was talking about with the handle. You might think this is just soft cloth, but no, like if you push on it, it doesn't move. It does not move like cloth. It'll actually feel more like kind of a rigid plastic. You see that? You can't like pull it loose. All right, so it gives a better grip than you would think. All right, and here's the etched pattern. That's acid etched on there. You guys might know this as the ropes pattern. That's the unofficial name of a pattern like this. You know, that's a cosmetic thing, you know, not a big deal. What do I think of this blade overall? Well, you know, they sell it specifically. It's not a utility knife, dude. They sell it specifically. If you read the CRKT website, they sell it as a defensive blade. So when I review it, I have to ask myself, well, could it be used as such? I think it could. I mean, between 3 and 4 inches is a good length for something like that, because, you know, it's what you could actually conceivably, realistically carry. Now, as for this in use, well, you know, it's like a shank. I mean, you know, there's no other way to put it. It's a last-ditch option for sure. You know, when I assess something like this, I try to put myself in both positions. You know, sometimes you'll get people, oh man, I would never bother using something like that. That thing, you know, it's not their expensive knife or their super tricked out knife. All right, well, I also try to put myself in the position of someone walking down the street, and how would I feel if a bad guy in a dark alley pulled this out and started coming towards me? I would feel scared. I would feel like he has a deadly weapon. And you know, if it's a deadly weapon for the bad guy, then it's still a deadly weapon in the hands of the good guy. So, you know, please remember that. It's almost like, you know, if you've got the skills and the mindset, it's almost like any sharp piece of steel will do. Now, there are design elements that make something better or worse. A tip like that, I'd say, you know, you don't want to see that coming at you. A tip like that, yeah, that makes it a little more effective in my eyes. Is it the ultimate weapon? Hey, you know, you're supposed to be the weapon, not your equipment. It is a poor workman that blames his tools. But for the price of this, I think it's perfectly reasonable. I think what it could do for you in an emergency, yeah, with price considered, I do think it fulfills its role as kind of an ultimate last-ditch backup. All right, I hope you enjoyed seeing this blade. I want to thank CRKT. Truly, you know, without CRKT being generous, you guys would not have seen this review. Not that it's not a good knife, it's just that, you know, my collection. I have so many knives in this category that if I was purchasing just for my own collection, I might not have gotten it. So really, you know, thank them for you guys seeing this review. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm out.